Hello friends, welcome to the channel. Earlier video we have seen how we did set up the source database. In the next video we saw how we can set up the staging database, and in this video we are going to see how we can set the target database. Okay, if you have missed the earlier videos, you can go to the ETL clips channel. Here ETL clips, the description is ETL and data pipeline testing from scratch. So you go to the channel and watch the earlier videos. Okay, let's jump into the processes you have to do. So basically, in a very simple 5-step process, we can set up the target database. Okay, and get it up and running, and we'll see how the data flows from source to staging. Okay, then from staging to target. Okay, we are going to see that. Let's jump into the actions. Now before we do anything, let's see how, in what state our source, staging and database are there currently. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so we have source database, staging database and target database. Okay, because we are focusing on target database, let's see how it is going to set up. So our container name, which is the database container name, is target underscore db underscore container. Then we have 12.6 version of Postgres. Restart always. Then you have the username and password, and database name is target database. Then we have the port, which is 5432. It's running here, and it's mapped to 54321, which is the local port. Okay, and when it brings up the initial scripts. Let's see what it contains. It contains the table structures. You see the tables here are different than source database, because source database is totally different, and target database is something after transformation of source data, those data are loaded into target database. Okay, so if you see here in the diagram, first the source data comes to staging, and we do some transformations here. Then we load that data into the target. We prepare in a format, it can be loaded, then set it to target. Okay, hence the target database only has structures. If you open this load file, everything is commented here. You see, these are all comment lines, so this script doesn't run. So if we run the Docker file, which is docker compose, and if we run it, it will bring up the target database and it will create the structures. So I have run it earlier. Let's see whether it is running or not. Yes, so you have the target database running here along with staging database and source database. Okay, so as we expect, we are starting from scratch. Just for sake of understanding, we have data in the source database. We have nothing here. Okay, and we have nothing here. So we'll run the ETL process to load the data here. Then some processes, the listeners and the transformers, will transform the data here. Then finally it will load to the target. That's what we are going to see. So step 1 is bring up the containerized database locally. Then set your environment to pick the data from source to staging. Then set up the trigger, channel or Kafka data stream, which channelizes your staging data into the target data. Okay, we'll see couple of them, and in the next videos you can see rest of the things, how data streaming is done by Kafka, how the triggers really work. For this video purpose, I'll only show end-to-end how it works and how you validate, you test and validate finally the target data against a mapping sheet. Okay, so the mapping sheet which you have seen, so here the logics are defined. You see there are the full name in the source database is transformed to first name and last name in the target database. Similarly, the delivery address is transformed to address, then their other fields also gets populated during the transformation. Okay, and email ID is a direct mapping. So all these things we'll see. We'll see the ER diagram, entity relationship diagram, and how it all hangs together. Okay, so let's go to the database client tool. Whether you are using dbeaver or DataGrip or any other tool, doesn't matter, it all looks same. So I'm using DataGrip here. If you see here, DataGrip. Okay, so you can pick one of the similar tools and see. So now if we go to our staging database, which has only two tables, customer and online order. This is for the sake of simplicity we are defining. In the real project, in your practical industry project, you will have hundreds to hundreds of tables, or more than that or less than that, like that. Okay, but concept remains the same. So the mechanism, how it works from source to target, how the data flows in the data pipeline, we are explaining in this video. We are going to see that. Okay, so source database schema should be exactly similar to the staging database schema. So this is what staging database. Let's see the source database schema, how it looks. It should be exactly similar, no difference. You see, this is the source one. Okay, customer and online order. Staging is same, customer and online order. Okay, so I'll close this one. And the target database is a transformed schema here. The customer data gets and fits into the person's data here. Look at this. Okay, then online order, which is here, they get transformed to this orders table and MFA codes, which is multi-factor authentication codes, and the addresses codes. So here in the staging database, it's kind of clumsy. Everything, too much information fits into there, but this is fine. This all hangs together, works fine in your legacy system. And in the target schema, we are doing a transformation. We are building a new schema which can be scalable, cost effective, and easily maintainable. That's why this transformation happens. Okay, let's go to the source database. Customers and online order, let's query them. See, you have source database here. Okay, and customer table and online order table. Okay, so we have two records here, Alice and John. And order, we have Apple iPhone, then Samsung tablet. There are two orders, two customers, and they have their individual addresses. All this, everything is fine. And the staging database, as we expected, it should not have anything. Let's run it. Control enter or command enter it executes everything. So the staging database here, you see this bit, staging database, online order and customer, but they don't have any records as we expect, because we have not run the processes. and we have stopped the cron jobs also. So we are going to run those and we'll see how this staging database will get populated. And same way, let's execute this. All four, 1, 2, 3, 4 tables. So if you see here, this is target database persons, target database multi-factor authentication codes, target database addresses, target database orders. Okay, but none of them have the record because the transformation logic which listens to the staging database changes have not run or not running. Okay, or running, and then staging database there is no data, so it is doing nothing. Okay, so we'll start one by one. And while transformation, it all our system also uses third-party APIs where the API server is running here. Okay, so we'll put a line here just to make sure we are starting fresh. And replicate is not running, and transform process is running, but there is no data, so it is doing nothing. Because if there is data in the staging table, it should do the transformation and load into target. That's what our objective. Okay, so if you come back to this diagram, here we want to set up everything and run the process, which is the transform process. It listens to the Kafka streams or the channel and then transforms the data, and finally the data gets loaded to the target database. That is when you can test and validate whether you have received the correct data or not. That's what our objective. Okay, let's come back. So we have checked source has data, staging database is empty, and this is also empty. Okay, now let's get back to our ID. You can use any ID. I'm using PyCharm, but you can use PyCharm, VS Code, or any other ID suitable. You just need the command line tool here to execute, or you can straight away use your system command line terminal prompt also. Okay, our staging database transform is running. So what does that mean is, let's go to the staging database. Here we have the tables, which is customer. You see there is a trigger here, so any data, whether it arrives here, comes here, or changes here, this will fire. And in turn, this guy is listening to that channel or that stream, and it will start executing, and it will start transforming those data from here. The customer data and online orders data get transformed. Transform logic will fire, and the data will come and sit here. Okay, that's what we're going to see now. Okay, let's get back to the ID again once again. Okay, now our replication process, which is from source to staging, just go and watch the earlier video how the replication process works. There is a clear instruction there. That usually runs by a cron job. Because we have stopped that cron job, for the sake of explanation, we'll run it manually now. Okay, replicator, and I have shown all this, how it works, how the cron jobs works in the earlier videos. You can go and watch. Now we can go pick this Python process. Poetry is just a package management tool. You can use simple Python, execute this Python file, it all works fine. Poetry just makes it a bit nicer and makes the maintenance life very easy. Okay, so let me run that here. So what is this? I'm running the replicator now. So the moment you run the replicator, every data, every record from source will start flowing to the staging. Basically, it will copy everything here. Okay, as we have seen in source database, we have data. Staging data, we have nothing. So once we finish the replication process, we should be able to see the records replicated to this. Okay, let's run it. It's finished. You see, replication process is complete. It's done. Now whether we have data, let's refresh it. Yes, we have got the data replicated. Let's refresh this. Yes, same thing if you run it here. Okay, so we have the data here. So the replication process successful, so the data has flown here. Now let's see whether there was any API hit. What's the time now? Around 10:14, around 10:13 we ran this. Okay, yeah, 10:14 there was API hit. Some kind of transfer logic was run, and it also used the third-party API, and also the transformation logic which runs here, which runs in the staging database, transforms the data into the format that can go into target database. That has also run. Okay, and it also says target database data saved into target database. That means they have loaded, it has loaded the data in target database as well. Okay, let's refresh this. Yes, MFA codes. Yes, person ID MFA codes. Let's go to the address. Perfect. So we have got the address record, orders. Perfect. We have got Apple iPhone as well as some tablets. So the details of it which you should go and assert in your integration test or your regression pack according to this logic. Every bit of logic is explained here. You just have to focus on this tab, which is the transformation rule, and go and assert that here. Okay, that's what we'll see in the next videos, how we pick the transformation rules and convert into our test scenarios. Okay, there are other things also like your NFR requirements and for D2C customers and B2B customers, we see that. Okay, now coming back to our diagram. So we have seen this. There's nothing, this is the source data, and here we saw replication happened successfully. Data also loaded successfully. It's fine. Now we're going to see if we change the data, something is changed here. It's called delta. Something, let's say, gets updated. Is that flowing here or not? That's the bit we can see. Okay, now let's go to our staging database. Something changes in source database will also change in the staging database. Now in the staging database, let's go to customer. Okay, let's run this. Customer, we have run. Okay, now we'll fire a update. We'll update something here in the customer table. Let's say update customer set full name, for example, to Alice, full name equal to Alice Johnson. Let's say Alice has given us her middle name, Alice P Johnson, or for simplicity, Alice is not Johnson, let's say Alice Jackson, where ID equal to this ID. Okay. If we run this update statement, what do we expect? The record which is Alice here, Johnson, updated to Alice Jackson. But in the target database, we have that Johnson. So that should also get updated to Jackson. Okay. Before that, we'll draw a separate line just to make sure things are running or not. Okay. Okay then. Now update. Now in the target database, let's go to the person table. First name is Alice, last name is Johnson. Okay. Source table we can safely close it. We don't need it. Everything is staging database, right? So now let's run it. Customer, let's refresh it. Yeah, so Alice, it has become Alice Jackson. Now the target database, what happened to this last name? We are expecting it should change. You see, Alice Jackson. Okay, and the date and timestamp you see, it just changed. Okay, now let's see the API server. There was a hit. It hit the address API because it updated the customer record which has address there, and the transformation also run. See here, data saved into address as well as customer. Okay, so everything is in order now. Okay, nothing should change. Orders, input codes. This ordering is changing. Okay, that's it. So we saw now how changing something in the source changed in the target. How did that happen? The transformation process, whether you call it process, job, or the listener or the consumer, everything is pretty much the same. So it ran here and loaded data to the target. So for the sake of another bit, we can change something else also. Let's say John Doe. Let's change the address 49 Brewery Street to, okay, let's say email address is changed. For example, John Doe email address. What is the email address here? John Doe. So that should change. If we change it, set email ID to something different. John Doe 123 at gmail.com, where the ID is 324. Okay. So we are expecting this bit to run. Replicator has no role here. So we are still in staging database. Okay, and we have run. Let's say refresh it. Okay, so it's John Doe 123 has changed. Let's see in the target database what it has done. Refresh it. See, it has automatically done behind the scene, and the timestamp has changed here. You see, last update timestamp. That's pretty much how the target DB is. So now comes to testing and validation. As I've already explained. So everything is in this column. Transformation rule or transformation logic will be here. Pick one by one how the data is transforming, how the full name splitted into first name and last name. Here we saw that. Here is the full name here. And the target database is first name and last name. So how it transformed, how the emails, how the address, everything mapped, we saw that. This is a very positive scenario. So everything worked as we expected. And what happened? Something doesn't work. That is something called some exception happened. So things goes to dead letter queue, which is DLQ. Okay, and that we are going to explore in the next video, separate video, because that's a long topic. How it works, how it all hangs together, we'll see that. Okay, so just to summarize, you saw how we set up the containerized Postgres locally, and how we set up the staging database transformation rules. Then how I showed you the triggers and the channels and the listeners, how it is set up and how it automatically got triggered, and how the transformation logic executed, and how the data came and sat on the target database. And finally we did a validation. Okay, so that's pretty much in this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. So I am Nirmal Nayak. Don't forget to share if you found it useful with your friends. Okay, thank you very much for watching.